Hi everyone, so this video is going to be about my best and worst drugstore foundations. Now, I know I'm going to get pulled up on the fact that I say drugstore instead of high street because drugstore is really an American term, but everybody on YouTube uses it and kind of everyone knows what it means. So I'm going to use it for the purposes of using it. So, drugstore foundations. I did a best and worst drugstore mascaras a while ago. Actually, it was quite a while ago. I think it was in the summer. So, and that went down really well. I got a lot of good feedback from that. So I also get a lot of questions about what are my favourite kind of cheaper foundations to use. So I thought I would do a video showing you my favourite ones, and then I've got one at the end that's just awful that I would not recommend to anyone. So I have 4 favourites, and I've kind of ranked them from like my least favourite out of those favourites to my favourite one ever. So they're all favourites, but I like them, some of them a little bit more than the others. And the first one is Topshop Skin Tint. Now, this isn't really technically a foundation, this is more like a tinted moisturiser, but I've included it because I think it's really, really hard to find a good tinted moisturiser for less than probably 30 quid. Like, Laura Mercier one is absolutely incredible, but it's just so expensive. A few of the cheaper kind of cosmetics brands do them, but I just think it's really hard to find a drugstore one. So this is Topshop Skin Tint. It comes in 3 colours. The packaging is really nice. And this is in light, so this is the lightest of their 3 colours. And if you can see that, it's not actually that light. So I think if you are very, very pale, say any paler than me, you probably might not be able to get away with this. But it is quite sheer, so definitely try it if you can in the shop before you buy it. Now, it does give just a very light sheer coverage. Like I said, it's more like a tinted moisturiser, but it's great for the daytime if you're going to school or work and you don't want to wear a full face of makeup but you want a little bit of coverage. It's really nice. So that's what the packaging looks like close up. Skin tint. I really like Topshop makeup packaging. I think it's really good for the actual price that they're charging. I think it's good quality as well. So yeah, that is Topshop Skin Tint. You get 30ml. It's £10 in the UK. You can buy it in stores or online, and in the States I think it's a little bit more expensive. It's $20. But you can get it on the website. A lot of people, I think, in the States think that they can't get Topshop makeup because there's only one Topshop store in New York, as far as I know, unless they've opened any new ones. But you can actually get it on the website because I checked. So that's a really good kind of drugstore tinted moisturiser. The next one is from a relatively new company, and it's from My Face Cosmetics, and this is their My Mix foundation. Now, this is the most expensive out of the ones that I've chosen. It's $12.99 in the UK, and in the States it's actually $28, so I don't think that technically counts as drugstore. So yeah, it's really expensive in America. I don't know why. I think it's probably because they are fairly new UK based brand, so it's probably quite expensive for them to ship everything out, things like that. So nonetheless, it is drugstore in the UK, so I thought I would include it because it is a really good foundation. The consistency is much more liquidy than I usually kind of go for. It's more of a kind of traditional liquid foundation consistency, but the coverage is really nice. It's just very natural kind of satin finish. It does give you a like kind of medium coverage, but it's definitely buildable. You can make it a bit more full coverage if you like. And the colour range of this product is actually really good. They only have 9 shades, but the actual choices of colours are really good. Like, they're not too yellowy or too pinky. They're quite neutral, kind of skin-like colours. I think a lot of foundations you get just really dodgy colours and you think, who is that kind of pink, bright pink like colour? No one. So I think the colour range is really good. The packaging isn't great. Considering this is the most expensive of all of the ones I've included, I think the packaging is a little bit kind of plasticky. I mean, it's good for travelling because it is very slim and it's very compact, and you do get 35ml, so it's kind of more than the average. The average foundation size is usually 30ml. So that is My Face Cosmetics My Mix foundation, and the shade I have, in case any of you are wondering, is Fair 03. Their shades are actually split into 3 sections, so they have Fair 123, Medium 123, and then Medium Dark 123. So they're kind of split up, and then they all have corresponding concealers as well, which is quite good. So I really, really like that. I really, really rate that foundation. I think it's a good buy if you're thinking of that. Now, the next one is a bit of a more famous choice, and it's Revlon Colour Stay. Now, this actually gives you, I'll do a bit of a close-up of that, this actually gives you a much higher kind of level of coverage than the other foundations that I've included. I would say it's medium to high coverage, and it stays on all day. Literally, if you've tried this foundation, you'll know that you have to blend it very quickly because otherwise it will dry and it won't move. So you have to kind of like go around your face doing this, rather than if you apply foundation like putting a blob on each area that you want to apply it and then blending it. Don't do that with this foundation because it will dry and then you won't be able to blend it properly. You need to do each section of your face individually, which I do anyway, so kind of works for me. What else to say about this? This is a really good foundation as well if you have oily skin, because they do a combination oily version. I have the normal to dry skin version, obviously, because I've got normal to dry skin. But this is definitely a better choice if you have oily skin, because it will kind of stay on. It's not going to melt off your face with the oil or throughout the day. The finish on this is quite matte. I wouldn't say it's a specifically matte finish foundation, but it's certainly not kind of glowy, and it's not quite satin either. It's kind of like matte but not totally matte, if that makes sense. So a nice finish if you prefer kind of like a matte face rather than a glowy face. I actually quite like glowing foundation and satin finish, things like that, so it is more of a matte finish. It does have SPF 15, which is good for obviously protecting your skin. Not great in photos if you're going to have a lot of flash photography, but unless you're a celebrity and you're going to be like chased around by paparazzi, you're not really going to need day to day, really going to need a non-SPF foundation unless it's like a special event and you're going to have lots of photos taken. So yeah, that is Revlon Colour Stay. It's $12.50 I think in the UK, and I believe it's about the same in dollars. You can get it pretty much everywhere in the UK and in the States. I'm not sure about Europe, but there we go. I'm not kind of like, I don't have universal knowledge of every single shop throughout the world, so I'm sorry for that. But yeah, Revlon Colour Stay, I really, really rate that. It's kind of like a staple in every drugstore foundation lineup because it is really, really good and everybody loves it. Okay, so on to my most favourite drugstore foundation, and first of all I have to apologise to everybody in the US because it's only available in the UK and Europe, so I'm really sorry, but it is Bourjois' Healthy Mix Foundation. Now this is a relatively new release. I believe it came out last year, but it's won quite a lot of awards since it came out because it's just such a good foundation. Again, it leaves you with a kind of like natural satin finish, but it's just enough coverage to be a nice kind of medium coverage foundation, but it doesn't look like you're wearing a lot of foundation. It's very natural, very glowy. It says it stays on for 16 hours. Whether it does, I don't know, because it depends what you're doing. If you're going to be sweating or I don't know, stressing out, it's probably not going to, but throughout your normal kind of day job it will stay there all day. Yeah, so it says it's got apricot, melon, apple and ginger in it. Apricot for radiance, melon for hydration, apple for antioxidant and ginger for energy. I don't know about that. I tend to ignore kind of all blurb about that on the front of bottles because I'm just, you know, I'm not bothered. If the foundation works, I don't really mind about what fruit it's got in it, if you know what I mean. I don't know if anyone really does, but the one thing that this foundation does is it smells amazing. If you guys have ever smelt Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel or Bronze Universal, whatever you want to call it, their cream bronzer, it smells just like that, kind of like a peachy, apricot-y smell. Really, really nice. Normally I'm adverse to putting things that smell strongly of anything on my face. I'm a bit like, ugh, I don't know why, just anything kind of smelly, and by smelly I don't mean smells bad, I just mean smells like fruity or anything on my face. But this is very subtle and it doesn't stay smelling like that, so you can't smell it all day, if you know what I mean. You can just smell it when you put it on. It smells fresh, it smells nice, really nice to apply. I do actually end up using quite a lot of this. Some foundations you only need a tiny amount of, like MAC Studio Sculpt, I need like less than a pea-size amount for my whole face, but this I tend to use maybe a pump and a half and then put it down my neck. It's quite a lot of foundation. But I do really, really like it. It's cheaper than the other two foundations that I've mentioned. It's $9.99. You can get it pretty much anywhere in the UK. And yeah, generally a really, really good foundation. I'm so impressed with this. Just looks natural, great for every day, absolutely love it. So I couldn't recommend that more. I think it's a great foundation. So that is it for my favourite ones. Moving on to my worst drugstore foundation. Now I only have one. I tend to not buy a lot of foundations unless I've read reviews of them before, so it's pretty rare that I will use a foundation that I really don't like, because before buying something I'll always put quite a lot of research into it. But this one was actually sent to me to review, and it's the worst foundation I've ever used. It's Maybelline's The Eraser. Now I'm sure you guys have all seen this because it's a new release. There's been loads of kind of advertising about it. The first thing that I instantly didn't like was the packaging, because it's got this sponge on top, really, really unhygienic. You're basically like sponging it on your face and you can't really wash this. I've tried to wash it to see how it washes, but it's just really awkward to kind of get all the stuff out and just no. So I tried taking it off and using it without the sponge as well, and the actual product itself, like I can forgive a product for having bad packaging, but the actual product itself is just so bad. It's greasy, it's just nasty feeling when you put it on your face. It doesn't smell great. In general, the colour range is a bit odd. Like this colour is too dark for my skin anyway, because when they sent it to me, they sent me a colour that's just orange. So I still used it to see what the foundation was like, but the actual consistency of foundation is not great. And then I went into Boots to see about their colour range and if they actually had a good colour range, and everything just seems kind of like the wrong shade. It's not like I said with My Mix, I think their shades are very, very well chosen shades. And I think they actually sell that foundation because of that. It says professionally mixed and matched by experts according to skin tone. So it's actually quite a lot of thought has gone into the shades of that. Whereas the eraser, I just think the shade lineup is really bad. The product itself is bad. It's greasy. I've got quite dry skin, and if I'm putting this on my face thinking it's greasy, if you've got oily skin, it would be horrendous. So yeah, generally just don't waste your money or don't go anywhere near this because it's a rubbish foundation. So that is it for my best and worst drugstore foundations. I'm definitely thinking about doing a few more of these. Probably the next one might be drugstore eyeliners, because I've been trying quite a few of those recently and there's a few really good ones that I've tried. So drugstore eyeliners might be up next. If you want to see drugstore lipsticks or lip glosses, let me know what you'd like to see. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, have a great day. Bye!